There are three communities in Call of Duty. Three groups of players that have been molded by the experiences and modes that both Treyarch and Infinity Ward have given us over the many years. Those three communities, going from oldest to newest, are as follows: the multiplayer community, the zombies community, and the battle royale community. The battle royale community is the newest to date and has only really been birthed out of Black Ops 4 via Blackout, a game that both other communities I'd reckon would say is one of the worst experiences to date in both their modes lanes. The next oldest one being the zombies community. It had its birth back in 2008 with Call of Duty World at War, and peaked right around 2011 to 2012 with Black Ops 2. Now, I want to emphasize, okay, I'm going to emphasize it so much that I'm going to use Funny Mike. I'm in no way saying that the peak I'm talking about in these communities are the best games for those modes. I'm just saying that it's when the modes were the most popular. And now the oldest community, the multiplayer community, getting its birth all the way back in 2006 with Call of Duty 3 and peaking similarly to Zombies at around 2010 to 2012. Now, I say these as the peaks for those communities only because the hype for Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and Cold War seem to be nowhere near that of BO2's hype for Zombies from what I can remember. And multiplayer after BO2 had Ghosts, and then Advanced Warfare. Do I need to continue this? Now, out of these three communities, there is one that I think is struggling the most in an area of ignorant uncertainty, and that is the zombies community. And that's who I want to talk to today. I have always been a fan of the zombies mode in Call of Duty. Sure, I was never a hardcore fan of it, and up until Black Ops 3's release, saw it as, quote, just the tertiary mode. But I've always loved it nonetheless. I've never been an Easter egg hunter, and I'm a predominantly multiplayer guy, but I think I can speak for all of us when I say, Cold War is scary. We know that Black Ops 4 was a flop, and if this game flops, well, people online have been filling our heads that it'll just be dropped off of the games entirely. Well, I'm here with a theory, yes, that's right, a game theory, that Cold War Zombies will be good and hopefully shine hope in the minds of the zombies community. But let's be honest, this video probably won't go much of anywhere, except maybe the 9 of you that watch it, but hey, I love you, you 9 people. Thanks for staying loyal. Now, on what basis do I theorize that Zombies this year will be good? Well, I really only thought about this while watching a Noah J456 video of him reacting to a The Smith Plays video where Patrick, quote-unquote, predicted how Cold War Zombies will go. The basis is the old saying that I believe is a statement that has helped humanity unlock some universal secrets, and that is the truth that history repeats itself to those who do not learn it. How does this relate to the zombies community? Well, if the answer was obvious, then I wouldn't have a video here now, would I? I'm going to open this answer up with a probably seemingly unrelated statement, but I'll explain this as I go. Treyarch doesn't learn. This is in no way an insult directed at Treyarch, nor is it a compliment either. It's a statement that, up until now, pre-Cold War's release, holds true. Treyarch doesn't learn. This is how Treyarch repeats history that allows me to come to the conclusive theory that Cold War Zombies is actually gonna be good. I believe the world works in many ways, and one of those powerful ways is through patterns. The patterns of those who do not learn history become predictable. In order to explain Treyarch's pattern is to go all the way back to 2008, Call of Duty World at War, the birthplace of zombies. Treyarch's pattern starts here: innovation. Now at the time, it wasn't so much an innovation as a little side project that a few of the team members whipped up, but it still innovated Call of Duty as a whole to introduce its coveted quote-unquote third mode that every installment had from there on out. Kind of like how Treyarch again innovated Blackout and gave birth to the Battle Royale community and the quote-unquote fourth mode. Now, although it's hard to say because it was the first time it had been done, This innovation came at a cost. The mode was dull. Yes, at the time it was fun, but even back then, during the time of World at War, zombies as a mode was not fulfilling. Yes, there were high round attempts, but that is fulfillment and accomplishment that were created by the players of the game, not something the mode itself created. Thus, the mode itself was rendered dull and boring. Once they reached the DLC, however, things started to grow. They had little micro innovations like perks, power, traps, and with Der Riese, a pack-a-punch machine. Those DLCs birthed the formula that modern zombies is built upon and paved the way for a good zombies experience called Call of Duty Black Ops. Why do I call Black Ops a good zombies experience? Because throughout the game, the formula stayed solid, and the micro-innovations helped the experience not hinder it or leave it stagnant. 5 and Kino der Toten did little to no innovation at all and stuck with the formula that was successful at the end of World at War with Der Riese. The only difference being that 5 added a new wonder weapon, which was done before in Nacht der Untoten with the ray gun. Kino, however, did innovate the Nova Crawler, which was a nice touch, but again, only was kind of more of a legacy touch that occasionally appeared in future maps, rather than a huge mode-defining micro-innovation. 5 perks, power, and a teleporter to Pack-a-Punch. Pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. The basic bare-bones content that we expect out of a map at this point in modern zombies. Then came Ascension, which didn't really stray too far from the original formula yet again, but it had the same 5 perks, but it added 3 micro-innovations to it. One of which flopped and wasn't that good, and only had 1 callback, bringing back in Shangri-La, which was the monkeys, and the other 2 being a mode of dangerous travel via the lunar landers, and the new perk PhD Flopper, which the devs at Treyarch hate, for some reason. The new perk being kind of a staple of Treyarch Zombies DLCs and maps in the years to come, and the landers really were just a micro-innovative change-up of the teleport system for Der Riese and Kino. Oh, and traps were still there too. Then we run into Black Ops' second DLC, the Escalation DLC. This introduced the map Call of the Dead. Same run-of-the-mill. This time, though, they innovated another zombie standard, the mid-round boss. Now, Call of the Dead is the only map to have the mid-round boss be in literally every round constantly, but Georgie Boy is the first mid-round boss in zombies history, no matter how you put it. Now, some would argue that the Nova Crawlers are a mid-round bossy thing, but they aren't a boss. They're just there to annoy you and be creepy. They aren't all that more dangerous than your typical zombie as long as you learn to avoid the gas explosions. They also had the same 6 perks from Ascension, but now they added a 7th, Stamina. It was a perk they added that makes you run faster, either to get across the big, at the time, map easier, or to get away from Georgie faster. Either way, it was a cool perk. Next were the last 2 maps, Shangri-La and Moon. I'm grouping these 2 together because they did the run-of-the-mill stuff like new perks, mid-round bosses, wonder weapons, stuff the other DLCs did, and did well to varying degrees. But the one huge thing that Treyarch did with these maps is invent the modern definition of the Easter egg. Sure, maps before had Easter eggs, and Call of the Dead had an alright one that was almost there, but Shangri-La's Easter egg and Moon's Easter eggs were the first of the modern era levels of Easter eggs that we see most commonly out of zombies now, standing on rocks with shapes on the ground in Shangri-La and playing Simon Says on Moon. Unfortunately, however, this is the end of Treyarch's positive micro-innovations that they had introduced into their zombies mode. Sure, the later games had micro-innovations, but they either negatively affected the mode or had no positive or negative one way or the other. Now enter Black Ops 2, and probably the most disagreeable part of this video. Black Ops' micro-innovations, in my opinion, kinda hammered out what zombies was supposed to / is supposed to look like. It basically built the standard. But Black Ops 2 polished those standards into a quote-unquote fine zombie wine of a game that really had little to no innovations that were positive. Brief in turns, just kinda existed. However, I'd say that where World at War was a lackluster bad zombies game experience and Black Ops was forging the modern standard, Black Ops 2 took us back to a not lackluster time of zombies, but still a bad time of zombies. The hype for BO2 was unreal, but upon its release all the way up until now, the game has quite the rough patch with zombies maps. Now, your casual players typically get clouded in nostalgia about good times they had on split-screen transit with pals and how fun it was to fly with the Paralyzer on Buried. But the maps in general were some of the weakest we've ever seen. Transit was an overly ambitious trash heap that's innovations killed it. Die Rise, the first DLC, was a map that wasn't overly ambitious, but its micro-innovations of verticality killed it. And Buried was an okay map, but it just didn't hold a candle to the ones that came before it, or the one that came after it. Before it, Mob of the Dead was a good map for a number of reasons, but looking back, its innovations didn't really go anywhere but where they started. And when Treyarch tried to implement them into other maps, well, we saw what happened with Blood of the Dead. Origins, the one after Buried, is the only map in Black Ops 2 that had an innovation that helped out the rest of the series. And that was the massive, time-consuming Easter egg that, for the first time, actually ended the game with a you win screen instead of a death screen. And luckily for us, that huge innovation at the end of Black Ops 2 paved the way for one of the greatest zombie experiences we've had to date. Black Ops 3. Say what you will about Black Ops 3, but one thing is an irrefutable fact about that game. And it's that the game has the best game engine for zombies. The fluid movement, the weapon balancing, the maps. Hell, the game is literally the only game to have a custom zombies since World at War, and Treyarch supported it because they know what they were sitting on. And Black Ops 3 got a remake of all the Black Ops and Black Ops 2 maps that the fans loved and wanted to see again because the engine was just that good. We had first the launch map, Shadows of Evil. In my opinion, the best launch map there has been in a COD to date. Sure, Kino der Toten was good, but leaves the casual player with more to be desired due to how simple it is to survive using the stage, and how accessible the Pack-a-Punch is by just linking a pad and spending some points. But Shadows of Evil makes the casual player work a bit harder to achieve the rounds they want to hit, as there is no, quote, one definitive training spot that's better than any other on that map. And the Pack-a-Punch may seem overwhelming at first for a casual player, but trust me, I've been there. It gives a sense of fulfilling accomplishment when you finally go to unlock it. For the hardcore player of zombies, Kino high rounds were a bit of a snooze fest because it was just easy to get good at training around the stage, and there really wasn't much of an Easter egg to be solved. However, Shadows didn't really have an area that an Easter egg runner could catch a prolonged break in, like the stage, and it had a full-fledged Easter egg. And all that took solvers a solid amount of time to complete the steps to. It's overall just a well-rounded Easter egg. Next up on the roster, we had Der Eisendrache, which brought back a similar elemental wonder weapon innovation that Origins had, with the same casual and hardcore principles that Shadows of Evil had. The same can also be said, except for the elemental wonder weapons, for Zetsubo no Shima, Gorod Krovi, and Revelations. The Pack-a-Punches were satisfying to unlock for casual players, and the hardcore players had satisfying Easter eggs that they could spend hours and hours trying to figure out how to solve. Black Ops 3 was overall a truly well-rounded game for the zombies community. So, to recap, we had World at War, a horribly dull, but at the time mildly interesting side mode. And in Black Ops, we finally got to see what good the mode could do, as Treyarch let in tiny micro-innovations here and there that really bulked up the mode to the golden standard. And in Black Ops 2, We saw how they ditched the micro-innovation and replaced it with over-ambition and screwed up the formula they had so cautiously crafted over the course of Black Ops. Then in Black Ops 3, with the help of Origins, we saw Treyarch return to Black Ops' golden form and polish the hell out of it to make it a satisfying and well-rounded experience. And then they fucked it up again in Black Ops 4. They did the exact same thing that they had done with Black Ops 2. They were too over-ambitious with their ideas, and it led them down a path of changes that ended up ruining the experience for both the casual players and the hardcore ones. The Easter eggs on most of the maps were tedious and annoying, and casual players couldn't survive on some of the maps because they were too hard and too involved to unlock the Pack-a-Punch. Not to mention how they broke their flawless perk system to make room for the Battle Royale's game mechanics. And just like Black Ops 2, the game had a couple solid maps, but unlike Black Ops 2, the solid maps weren't amazing. Where Black Ops 2 was atrociously bogged down by Transit, Der Riese, and very slightly partially buried, but had amazing maps like Origins and Mob of the Dead, Black Ops 4 was weighed down by its atrocious maps like Voyage of Despair, Classified, Ancient Evil, Dead of the Night, Alpha Omega, and Blood of the Dead. It had a couple of maps that are considered vaguely good, but not great, like 9 and Tog der Toten. So, my theory hopefully now makes sense. I have hope for Cold War Zombies mode, and I think it's going to be good this year because Treyarch never learns. They have something gold, and then they over-innovate. Then they go back to the gold, give it a new coat of polish, and then over-innovate and fuck it up again. So they over-innovated too early with Nazi zombies back in World at War because it was something they didn't know what to do with until the final DLC. I appreciate that they released it, and it was able to grow into what it is today, but they could have fleshed it out more. They polished what the final DLC had in World at War for a good run, and added on little things to build a golden standard. Then they over-innovated and took it down a few pegs, and they had to rewind back to their former gold and give it a new rub of shine. Then they over-innovated and cocked it up again. So this year I think they're going to take the Black Ops 3 system and build off of it a lot, and throw a new coat of shine on it, and it'll just be amazing and just knock our fucking socks off. I think that people being scared of Cold War Zombies is natural, but I think Cold War Zombies isn't what we should be scared of, and your fear is misplaced. I think that we should really be hoping that with this game, Treyarch gained the ability to learn and can stop the cycle of repeating history for Black Ops, Cold War 2, or whatever the next game is after this one, and really grasp onto this gold and these formulas that they've gotten right with Black Ops and Black Ops 3 for Zombies. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and let me know what your thoughts of Cold War Zombies are so far. Think it'll be good? Think it'll be shit? Did my theories make any sense to you, or am I just spewing dog shit? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I would love to talk to the Zombies community and see what you guys think. But who am I? I'm Ben. We'll see you in the next activity. Bye-bye.
My heart rages around like an ocean.